The other day I had a thought, scary, I know. There have been a lot of DLC characters and stages for Smash 4 over the past few months, but when I did the videos on my top 5 loved and hated characters and stages, not many were available, so seeing as the final wave has now been released, I thought I might as well go through them all. If you haven't seen the Smash Wii U Top 5 series, here's a link to the Countdowns playlist, which has all of them there, as well as the Brawl Top 5 series. For this, the DLC characters and stages won't be ranked or anything. I'll just be discussing the characters in the order they were released, plus any stage that was released with the character, and then the other stages. This is not an in-depth analysis of the characters, so if you want to know every last detail about them, this won't be the video for you. If you just want a basic overview, this will do nicely, so let's crack on with Mewtwo! I mentioned in the Brawl Top 5 Characters video that I liked Mewtwo in Melee, so I was pleased when he made his return in Smash 4. He's the second lightest character in the game, somehow Kirby is heavier than Mewtwo, so goes flying quite easy, but he has pretty good recovery. His attacks can rack up some nice percent in a short amount of time, and his smash attacks have a decent amount of knockback. As for his special attacks, they're generally pretty good. Disable can be a tad unreliable as it requires eye contact to work, and the range is rather poor, making it a large risk. How long they're stunned for increases with the higher percentage, so it's best saved to get in the final smack. I tend to favour his up smash and probably use it a bit too much, especially as his moves seem to have a lot of ending lag, which leave you open for taking a beating. I also quite like his forward aerial strike as it seems decent at scoring KOs. I was able to put his final smash, Side Strike, into the top 5 video where he was an honourable mention, narrowly missing out on the number 5 spot. It's got alright damage and fairly good knockback, so when your foe gets launched off, chances are they won't be coming back. Lucas! I had Lucas in my Brawl Top 5 video, so I'm not going to say too much about him here, but I still love him, and as much as I like Ness, I much prefer Lucas. He wasn't available when I did the Wii U Top 5 video, but as much as I enjoy playing as him, I'm not sure if he would be in my top 5, but certainly top 10. Just like with Mewtwo, I use his up special a bit more than I should, but it's extremely effective. Some say it's too slow and risky, but I say it's effective enough to be worth the risk. His final smash, PK Starstorm, was in my top 5 final smashes list, along with Ness's, so once again I won't spend too much time on it, but with its very high chance of scoring a KO, it's still one of my favourites. He was my favourite character in Melee. I was disappointed he wasn't in Brawl, and I'm so glad he's back. Roy is a tad different to how he was in Melee, but he's still great. The way he holds his sword means he doesn't have as much range with some attacks, but his power can make up for it, especially with his sweet spot being near the base of his sword. Although he has the same moveset he did in Melee, there are some minor differences, like his standard special Fire Blade taking longer to charge up, but having little to no ending lag and having more knockback even when not fully charged. His smash attacks are effective too. Once again, I use his up smash the most. Maybe I just have a thing about up smashes, but his others are decent. His final smash, though called critical hit, is very different to Marth and Lucina's, which if you saw my final smashes video, you can guess I'm very pleased about that. It might not do as much damage as Marth and Lucina, nor have as much knockback, but it's a hell of a lot more reliable. Growing up, as much as I liked Street Fighter, I was always more of a Mortal Kombat person, but having Ryu in Smash made a lot more sense than Scorpion, Sub-Zero, or any of the other MK characters. Anyway, Ryu fits in perfectly and actually transferred very well. Not only does he have all his classic moves from the Street Fighter games, being able to input the classic button combinations to do more powerful versions of the move is a nice touch. The only downside is that when I try to do that, Ryu does the wrong move, which is why he's doing so many pointless hurricane kicks rather than a Hadouken. But once I don't use the up smash very much, I tend to go with his side smash or Shoryuken. For his final smashes, I spoke about them in my final smashes video, so I won't spend too much time on them. His Shinku Hadouken is okay, but his Shin Shoryuken is amazing and I love it. The stage he came with, Suzaku Castle, is kind of meh, there's nothing special about it. Being able to destroy the signs is kind of funky, but that's about it. I don't mind battling on it, but it certainly wouldn't be in my top 5 or 10. Before I start looking at Cloud, I just want to say I have never played Final Fantasy VII. I did a winged review of the GBA remake for the first Final Fantasy a little while ago. I'm currently working through Final Fantasy II, and I have 3, 4, 5 and 6 lined up, but I never got to play 7, so I wasn't all that fussed when Cloud was announced as DLC for Smash. We have a lot of sword fighters already, but Cloud is a decent one. He has some cool moves, and being able to launch foes into the air and then drag them back down again with his clam hammer is always entertaining. His limit break makes his moves much more potent and allows for greater recovery. It can be charged, but that takes a while, and it requires a lot of damage to be dealt or received to activate, so it's great when it happens, but it isn't something you can rely on, which I guess is a good thing. I also don't use his up smash very much. I prefer his side smash due to the multiple hits ending with a good old whack. His final smash is a tad disappointing. It's Omni Slash, which I know is from the game, but with the way they put it into Smash, it's pretty much just a not as awesome version of Great Aether. As for the stage that he comes with, Midgar, I love this stage. The stage itself is okay, resembling the Battlefield stage, but material appears every now and then which, when collected, summons one of 5 creatures which affect the stage. It could cut the stage in half, electrify certain areas, or something else. This makes things so much cooler and varies the terrain, especially as the material appearance rate is spot on. Plus it has a cool backdrop. This stage could have ended up in my top 5 stages list.
Corrin.
When it turned out Corrin was from Fire Emblem, my first thought was, oh goody, another Fire Emblem character, because we don't have enough of those already. I suppose it could have been worse, we could have ended up with another Pokemon, but I digress. Corrin rules. We have the male and female version, but luckily as alternate costumes, so for this I'm just going to refer to Corrin as a he. He has some great moves even if they are a tad random, but I guess the upcoming Fire Emblem game will explain what they're all about. You may have noticed I don't use grabs very much, but some of Corrin's throws have him turning into a dragon to do it, which is really awesome, and they're pretty effective. Even his down aerial move is funky. His final smash looks pretty awesome, but feels like it should be a more glorious spectacle than it is, but again, it might be expanded on in the actual game. As it is, it does a good job, but I don't think it would be in my top 5.
Bayonetta.
The Bayonetta games were great, and when it was announced people could vote on who they wanted to join Smash, I voted for Bayonetta, and I am so pleased she is now in it. She's really good, has some great moves, and while she seems a tad on the clunky side, she's still a lot of fun to fight as. They've adapted her techniques from the Bayonetta games into Smash very well. Of course they've been scaled back a tad, otherwise she would be seriously OP. I don't really have a preference with her smashes, but I do like using her heel slide and witch twist to launch those into the air and then carry on the barrage. She has guns strapped to her hands and feet, so you can hold the button down on any move to shoot a few bullets for some extra damage. The only issue I have is with her Witch Time special attack, which requires you to dodge an attack to massively slow down your opponent, so it essentially works in the same way other characters' counter move does. The problem is that with these types of moves, for me at least, it tends to be down more to luck than skill. As for her final smash, Infernal Climax, activating it starts Witch Time across the entire stage, and you have to attack your opponents to build the climax gauge before the timer runs out. If you do, Gamora is summoned, and any enemy affected by hits done from an attack will be munched on by Gamora before being launched off. A second gauge appears during the chomping, where you have to mash the A button to fill it, and doing so makes Gamora's chomps do more damage. What makes it even better is that if anyone's percent is over 100 at the end of the final smash, it's an automatic KO. The summon has also been scaled back a bit, so just for the fun of it, let's have a look at the original summon. Even so, Bayonetta has made a great addition to the Smash roster. She isn't perfect, but she's a lot of fun. The stage she comes with, Umbran Clock Tower, is kinda disappointing. A lot goes on in the background, but it's all just for show. Some of the larger angels approach the stage, and it looks as if they're about to do something, but they don't. They just fly off. It's cool that the time on the clock face is the same time the Wii U has, so yes, the time on the clock now is the actual time I was recording this footage, but there's nothing special about the stage itself to make it memorable. Now we'll delve into the other stages that are available. First off, Miiverse, another Battlefield style stage and one of the first to be made available. As you fight, posts appear in the background. Some are good, some suck. The stage is okay, but I'd much rather just be on the regular Battlefield. That's about it for that one. So next is Dreamland 64, yet another Battlefield style stage, but this one has a tree in the middle of it that can blow you off. Insert innuendo here. It's an okay stage, I guess. There's nothing bad about it or particularly special about it, so it sits nicely in the meh category. I would have preferred to have Green Greens from Melee and Brawl over Dreamland 64, but I don't have any issue battling on it. We then had two castle stages which originated in Smash 64 and haven't been seen since. Peach's Castle for me is one of the weaker stages, and that's not because of my hatred for Princess Peach. I just find it dull. It seems like it wants to be much grander than it is, but couldn't due to the limitations of the N64. There are a few platforms here and there, and the sliding one going through the castle is funky, but on the whole, it does very little for me, and I'd much rather play on Hyrule Castle. Again, this stage isn't anything special, though again, probably due to the limitations of the N64, but it's better than Peach's Castle. The occasional hurricane appearing adds a bit of spice to the stage, and it has enough platforms and area to vary the battles. I'm assuming these stages were more fan service for those that loved Smash 64, which is great and they're okay to battle on, but they pale in comparison to most of the newer stages. Next up is Super Mario Maker, which has the gimmick of being different every time you play. At the start of the game, various platforms, hazards and all that will be placed on the stage. What is placed and where is random, so you'll have a different stage each time you play, and it'll flick between the different graphic styles based on the Mario games. The problem is that most stages suck. They don't put much on there, so platforms and layout is limited, and every time I tried it, the layouts were never that amazing. It's great having unlimited variations to the stage, but when very few variations actually make decent stages, it's kinda pointless. The last one left to talk about is the pirate ship, which originated in Brawl, and it's exactly the same, which is great. It may not have been in my top 5 Brawl stages, but I was glad to see it back, and no, that's not just because I'm a Legend of Zelda fan. Varying terrain, hazards, good slide, and all that malarkey made it a decent stage I'll happily battle on any time. Well, that's all the DLC that's available, so hope it's helped you decide whether or not to buy any of it. Any questions, comments, suggestions or anything like that, leave a comment or use any of the contact details in the description to get in touch. But for now, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it and see you next time.